Mann Grimmer M.1. During the evolution of fighting airplanes, there have emerged from time to time aircraft that were dead-end designs, and only marginally suitable for their intended function. One such was the Mann Grimmer M.1 of 1915. The design of the M1 was begun by R.F. Mann in August 1914. He was then 17, having worked with his former schoolmaster, R.P. Grimmer, in designing and marketing model airplanes in the pre-war years. Mann had recognized, some time before the war began, that gun-carrying airplanes would be needed in any major conflict. He gave his ideas expression in the design of the M1. With financial backing provided by Mr. W. Carter, work on the construction of a prototype began in September 1914. By working long hours, the major components were completed at Surbiton at the end of January 1915, when they were taken to Hendon. The M1 was assembled there in the following month. It was an ugly, ill-proportioned two-bay biplane, characterized by an extraordinary power installation. In the M1, Mann tried to combine the tractor layout, which promised better performance, with pusher air screws, which offered the gunner a clear field of fire in forward directions. The M1 had two pusher air screws carried on an inadequate-looking system of struts about the inner-rear interplane strut on each side. The 100-horsepower Anzani radial engine was mounted in the conventional place in front of the fuselage, but it was installed back to front, with a central bullet-like fairing over what was normally the back of the crankcase. An extended shaft drove the air screws via a gearbox and chains. Close behind the engine was the gunner's cockpit. Its position was poor, and it would have been difficult to mount and use a Lewis gun effectively from it. The pilot sat well aft, too far from the gunner for any crew cooperation to be possible in combat. The basic structure of the M1 was conventional. In its original form, it had two short skids on the undercarriage, and its long tail skid was pivoted and sprung internally. In this form, it made its first flight on the 19th of February, 1915, in the hands of W. Roland Ding. Early flights showed that the rudder was ineffective, having no slipstream passing over it, and the chain transmission was not satisfactory. A bigger rudder and new air screws were fitted, but the aircraft's performance was poor. A 125-horsepower Anzani replaced the original. New transmission was installed. A V-type undercarriage and an even larger rudder were fitted. After several incidents and vicissitudes, the Mann Grimmer M1 was attaining speeds of 75 to 80 miles per hour by August 1915. Refinements were made, notably to the air screw supporting structures, and the speed went up to 85 miles per hour. The various modifications had increased the empty weight from 1,300 pounds to roughly 2,100 pounds, an increase of over 60%. The aircraft was offered for sale in November 1915, but was wrecked on the 16th of that month, with a total of about 18 flying hours to its credit. It was said in the House of Commons that the M1 would have been tested by the RFC had it not been destroyed. It could only have been rejected, for it would have been useless in combat, and too complicated for service in the field. Mr. Bonham Carter felt unable to continue to finance the construction of another aircraft and withdrew his support in March 1916. An improved design, variously referred to as the M2, M2A, and M2B, was submitted to the War Office. A designed speed of 100 miles per hour was hoped for. According to R.F. Mann and R.P. Grimmer, an official contract was awarded for a prototype and construction was started. There are indeed indications that an official contract was granted and that the aircraft's construction was undertaken by L. Balerio Aeronautics of Brooklands. The partners alleged that they gave the contract and payment to Mr. Bonham Carter and had an understanding with him relating to the construction of the M2. According to them, the company was subsequently broken up by Bonham Carter's action, and the incomplete M2 was sold to Blériot Aeronautics. Well, I couldn't let this one go without sharing a little excerpt from the Mann Grimmer brochure, or company catalog. The Mann monoplane has whiled away many a long hour for British officers on colonial duty, and it has given untold pleasure to the lonely Rhodesian or Canadian colonists far away at the outposts of the Empire. In short, there is perhaps no British product that has so thoroughly earned the title of universal. The purchase of a Mann monoplane. When you've decided to purchase a Mann monoplane, you have the option of getting it through one of the big stores, such as Selfridges or the Army and Navy, or procuring it directly from us. Hamley Brothers, who have branch toy shops all over London, and many of the leading toy shops in the provinces, always keep a large supply of our machines in stock. Now, it does not matter a bit to us where you get your Mann monoplane from, so long as you do get it. Now, we say this because there are shops where you will be urged to buy some rubbishy French or German machine instead of the Mann monoplane, and some of the unscrupulous salesmen will go so far as to tell you that the Mann monoplane is no better than any other model airplane, and that none of them will fly, all being failures alike. Thereupon they will try to sell you a model yacht or a model locomotive instead. They adopt this policy because they know what utter failures the French and German models were, and they profess to believe that no British firm can succeed in producing a practical model flying machine when the French and Germans have failed to do so. We call such salesmen unscrupulous because they refuse to be convinced that the Mann monoplane is a genuine article by attending our periodical demonstrations to the trade. To condemn an article without even having seen it is, in our opinion, the height of unscrupulousness. So, if you decide to purchase your Mann monoplane through a shop, see that you get it. Do not buy a French or German machine. If you do, you will be sorry for yourself. Your experience will be such as severely to try your temper and to disgust you forever with the sport of model airplaning. Refuse the French or German rubbish and insist on having the Mann monoplane. On the other hand, if the salesman tells you that there is no model airplane that will fly, ask him if he has ever heard of the Mann. And beware of imitations, of which there are several on the market. There are things that distinguish the Mann monoplane from the imitation. 1. The name of our firm is stamped on the silk of the mainplane. 2. The signature R.F. Mann written in indelible ink on the fabric. And 3. The signed guarantee given with every machine. These are your 3 safeguards, and if you neglect them, you will be sadly disappointed. But it will then be too late.